The importance of this theory to study that for the first time we discuss about how the power should be distributed among the three organs of the government. Okay, how power should be distributed between three organs of the government. So, as it is a very important concept that it talks about division of the power between legislature, executive, and judiciary, isn't it? So, this it can be called it as a theory of separation. Who introduced the theory of separation means it is introduced by Montesquieu. Okay, theory of separation introduced by Montesquieu, a man and the author and intellectual, and who for the first time contributed his idea towards the division and separation of the powers between the legislature as well as executive as well as judiciary. Now I should ask you the and one questions to everybody here. What is legislature? If you do understand the meaning of legislature, there is a possibility to understand the concept of theory of separation. So, and first I would like to know my question is that what is theory of, what is legislature? Can
Law.
anybody? Somebody told it law. Then,
Law.
yes, legislature is a law, but what it has to do with the law?
Make rules.
Very good. Legislature has a responsibility to making of laws. What is the authority of executive? What is the function process of an executive?
To obey these laws.
Okay. Then can anyone
Bureaucrat,
try
sir.
one more time? What is it?
Bureaucrat, sir.
Very good. Bureaucracy, executive. But what is exactly the function authority of executive? As you have
Implementation
said,
of the legislature, sir. Implementation of the rules, sir.
To implement the rules.
Very good. Implementation of the rules. See, in all these things, earlier we had a chaos. We had a confusion that legislature, what it has to do it, executive, what it has to do it, and what is the authority of this judiciary. I'll tell you here all these three. See, for the first time, we came to know, and whenever then and then the political science has come into existence, and the theory of separations has written the redefinition of the political science by contributing the concept of three organs of the government. Legislature, what it has to do it for making of laws. It's only the responsibility of legislature that and should implement the laws. There is no point of reason to intervene into the matters of implementation point of view. What is the executory authority here is that execution, it has to look into implementation or execution of the laws which has prepared by legislature. What is the authority of judiciary here? And judiciary is that checks and balances authority. What is the authority of judiciary? It checks and balance, means it checks whether the laws are being prepared in the right and appropriate way. It checks whether the laws are being implementing in the right way or not, isn't it? So the judiciary has its own an authority where there is no overlapping authority of executive. Executive has its own authority. There is no overlapping with the legislature. So the way of distribution of power between legislature, executive, and judiciary has done for the first time by theory in the theory of separation, which and talk about and Montesquieu. Montesquieu is a great scholar and intellectual in the political science who hailed from United States of America and who talk about a certain system to division of the power. And for the first time, and I'm sorry to say that Montesquieu is that a French scholar, it's not in USA, and the French and political thinker in the 1689 to 1755, he was there. He has written The Spirit of Laws, and he has published the book in the 1748 in the spirit of the last, in this book, he talk about and the separation of the power. And Montesquieu in the 18th century, and he's and seen the practicality how the France and England have truly have been violating the system of making of laws. I just wanted to remind the Louis XVI administration in the France. Okay, France, it was under the control of and Charles and Louis government, isn't it? So the Louis 14th Louis government was an extravagant ruler who does not adapted any of the thing over here, and who used to believe in the certain thing that in administration like a monarch. Okay. Have you all knows about Louis 16 that in the lesson has written in your 10th class in the 9th standard in the world history, you can find it about French Revolution. Have anybody come across it from your background? Have you completed SSC, everybody here? So if you completed SSC, you can see in the 9th, standard, you can understand about Louis 16. So you know that, and how before execution of this theory of separation, how then authority used to be handled by the state. For that, an example has given in your book, that is a Louis 16th government, the man which used to take entire an authority to making of laws. The one and only the person who used to take an authority to making of laws and who used to take an authority to implementation of the laws, he himself treated to be in judiciary. So that if a one person, all these authorities possess in them, that it shall be called as a monarch government. Do you understand? Are you all following me? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes. If a person who held on all this authority, one should be treated as he is a monarch. Do you understand my point? So if you could see in the France government, like, in a France when Louis XVI was there, who stratified the entire society into and few classes, and who used to make the laws, and as well as who also used to, and and implement the laws, who was also taking responsibility to considered as monarch for the state. Do you understand my point? So as these things was into the existence since its raised to French Revolution, the way of and doing certain things which causes for a revolution. As in keeping in view of that theory of separation, as being a great scholar from the French theory of Montesquieu, in order to making a flexibility of administration, he divided the responsibilities of three organs of the government in a three different and factors. So as I have said, legislature is the responsibilities invested that making of laws, and executive it vested an authority of implementation of laws, judiciary it's vested an authority to, and that in checks and balances of the laws, whether the laws are under the constitution or not, whether the implementation process is being doing in the right way or not, all these things which it can be done by, and theory of and separation by Montesquieu. The book which was written, the Spirit of Laws, in his books he has mentioned clearly that powers to be and distributed among the one another. Do you understand that? So as here, the importance of this thing also, instead of if you could see, and the concept of theory of Montesquieu widely, which we can see in many nations' constitution. For example, in Britain constitution, which we can easily see that and understand that how powers to be distributed among one another. Do you know that? Have you come across the Parliament of Britain anytime? Can anyone? Can you come across the Parliament of Britain? How it should be? Is it like an Indian Parliament? I'm asking you, what is the composition of it? In Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, where it is exist in India?
Parliament.
Very good. In Parliament means what here in the Indian Constitution? Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, President. Okay. And similarly, in a Britain Parliament also, we see lower house and upper house. Okay. And what is the Lok Sabha other name in India? That is a lower house. What is the Rajya Sabha and other name of an Indian Parliament? Upper house. Okay. The Rajya Sabha also in India can be called it as a gentleman house, isn't it? So what I'm trying to tell it here is that Montesquieu concept, the theory of separation of Montesquieu, widely, which we can see in the practicality in Britain, United States of America, and India too. Okay. In Britain, if you could see, the Britain Parliament, which divided into the two houses, which is called House of Commons, House of Lords. Okay, House of Commons, House of Lords, isn't it? So House of Commons and House of Lords, these two houses, which actually has an authority to making of laws. Who has to be there? There is a person which is called cabinet, the group of ministers, which is to be treated as a bureaucrats, okay, political bureaucrats, who has an authority to implementations of the laws. So here the Britain Parliament is making up the laws. The ministers along with the bureaucrats, they are implementing the laws. There is also judiciary which take the responsibility to punish them, those who have committed a mistake. So if you could see such kind of constructions of the government in the Britain, which is a replica of theory of Montesquieu. Do you understand my point, what I'm trying to say? అర్థమవుతుందా? हेलो
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
हाँ, थियरी ऑफ सेपरेशन कहाँ पर अभी ये दुनिया में दिखता, मतलब जो पावर्स ने डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया गया है लेजिस्लेचर को, एग्जीक्यूटिव को, जुडिशरी को, ऐसे थे नॉट ओनली विच वी कैन सी इन इंडिया बट ऑल्सो विच वी कैन सी एंड ऑब्जर्व इन ब्रिटेन ऑल्सो. ब्रिटेन में भी यहाँ पे हर अथॉरिटी को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किया गया है. तो पहली बार ने एंड वर्ल्ड में एंड 17th सेंचुरी में पहली बार ये पावर्स को डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करना चाहिए लेजिस्लेचर के बीच और एग्जीक्यूटिव एंड जुडिशरी में, फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम. एंड हु सेड इट इन द सेंस मींस इट इज सेड बाय मॉन्टेस्क्यू. तो ऐसा एक इम्प्लीमेंटेशन प्रैक्टिस थियरी ऑफ मॉन्टेस्क्यू जो बताए हैं, वो कॉन्सेप्ट कहाँ कौन से देश में प्रैक्टिस में दिखाया जा रहा अभी. मतलब फर्स्ट देश है ब्रिटेन में. अगर ब्रिटेन में देखा जाए तो पार्लियामेंट, ब्रिटेन पार्लियामेंट में दो तरह के हाउसेस रहते. एक हाउस ऑफ कॉमन्स रहेगा, हाउस ऑफ लॉर्ड्स रहेगा. हाउस ऑफ कॉमन्स इज इक्वल टू लोकसभा ऑफ इंडिया. हाउस ऑफ लॉर्ड्स इज कॉमन इक्वल टू इन इंडिया राज्यसभा. ओके. तो इंडिया का पार्लियामेंट क्या कर रहा है यहाँ पे? द मेकिंग ऑफ लॉज. इन द सिमिलरली इन द ब्रिटेन पार्लियामेंट आल्सो कैन मेक द लॉज ओनली. सो द लॉ व्हिच इज प्रिपेयर्ड बाय द लेजिस्लेचर, then execution part can be done by executive, and the checks and balances can be done by, and you know that, one second, judiciary. Okay, very good. One second. And then after this, if you see this, you know, the same a kind of an practice which we can see in United States of America. Can you tell me an example in the United States of America? The parliament name is called as a Senate. What is the parliament name of United States of America? Senate. In the Senate, there are, and you know, the things which it can be follows as it is written in the theory of separation. The same legislature, judiciary, as well as, you know, that in all these things works. But of course, then powers to be distributed among the one another, but the way of executing the powers and other things will be in differ from India. But the practice of theory of separation widely, which we can see in the world, 3 countries are excessively practicing. One is in the United States of America, another one is in Britain, and the third one which you can see in India. See, in Indian constitutional leaders have adopted the concept of theory of separation and have provided in all the 3 different authorities to the 3 different organs of a Indian and government. In such as, you know, that here the Indian Parliament, if you say the legislature makes the laws. In the first class, which I've explained to you, how laws are being prepared in the parliament. Can anybody tell me that on how law which is built up in the parliament? How we make the laws in parliament? Can anybody tell me?
Sir, sir, first they will raise a bill, sir.
Yes, very good.
Then it should be approved by the both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, sir.
Very good.
That's it, sir. Then it will be sent to the president, sir, if it's not a
Very
money
good.
bill.
Yeah, the same. There are certain bills which it can be kinds of the bill. One is an public bill, another one is a private bill. Okay. Based on this category, again, we can divide it four types of the bill. One is finance bill, money bill, ordinary bill, private members bill. Okay, four kinds of bills will be there. So, however, the procedure, as you have said, it is the same. First, a person will submit the bill in the house. After discussion, it will be sent it to the Rajya Sabha. After once the discussions is over, then after that it will move to the and President of India. Once the President will assent it, assent means sign it. It will become into the act. Okay, act can be called it as a law, L-A-W, law. Okay, so as in terms of it, if you could see in the theory of practice in India, which widely you can see that in the we have legislature. Legislature in India, what it does, it makes the laws. There is no point of reason to intervene into the other matter. Only the parliament, it makes the laws. There is no point of reason to how the implementation is going to take place in India in the grassroots level to national level. Can you tell me who implement the policies of the government after making the law in India?
Executive.
Very good, executive. With the help of executive, there are kinds of executives which we often see that. One is a permanent executive, another one is a nominal executive. What is the meaning of permanent executive? Permanent executive means who comes through the recruitment, who worked up to retirement. Okay. Who is a permanent executive? Who appointed through recruitment and he worked till retirement. He's called permanent executive. What is a nominal executive? He just come into the power as like a political leader. Okay. Like, minister to be treated as a bureaucrat. Which bureaucrat? Nominal bureaucrat. How many months and years he'll be in the ministry and he will be treated as a bureaucrat. So through the bureaucrat system, we do an implementation of the policies in India. Then after, if any policies are being prepared by the parliament, if it is wrong against the constitution of India, then the court will take action against that. It is a responsibility of a judiciary to checks and balances of that. If what actually judiciary is given authority is that judiciary is given an authority to checks and balances of that, whether the law is preparing by legislature in the right way or wrong way. If it is wrong way, then it will pass and stay, and it is also makes it to stop to not to implementing of it. If it is found to be in right, there is no matter to that, and definitely it get into the execution. Even the judiciary has a responsible organ of Indian government. Not only it checks and balances at the time of making of laws, but also it also checks and balances at the time of implementation. Okay, in implementation, see, for example, I'll tell you, if Arogyasri is a policy of a Telangana government, it's made it up 5 lakhs of capping of, the treatment in the any hospital, which have recognized by the Arogyasri department and Telangana state government. If the government is only giving 3 lakhs of the an income and 3 lakhs of health benefits, I mean hospital benefits to the patient, few of them is getting in 5 lakhs, few of them is getting as in 3 lakhs. If such kind of a partiality, if it is being entertained, then who will question? Where you can approach? You can directly approach to the court in order to legitimize your policy benefits behalf of the government. Do you understand that? So as this judiciary is always is to be treated as a custodian of Indian constitution, if any of the work which is going to be destructed, it is a responsibility to that construct and make the things in the right way. So as what we have discussed in this lesson is that theory of Montesquieu is a French scholar who have written and the spirit of laws. In this book, he has mentions about how the powers to be distributed among all the 3 organs of the government. Okay. What is that and advantages of this theory? The first one is that laws will prepare on faster mode. Are you all following me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Benefits are advantages of theory of separation of Montesquieu. The first one is law will prepare in a speedy way. First one. There is no latency will be created while making of a loss. Say, for example, if you go to the hotel, okay, if you go to the hotel, if you eat a single food, it's very easy to digest in your stomach. If you eat multiple items in the hotel, it's very difficulty to digest. What it happens, it takes a lot of time to digest. It is called latency. Okay. And the same thing, if a person is given in one work to the, and in order to accomplishments of that, the first advantage is that work will be done in time without any errors. The person who is doing the same work and every day he'll get the specialization, and it will be better for to moving the better democracy in the nation. The second point is that if you see that there is no chances of to that to getting denied, and there is no chances of to, and you know that, and to create an inability of work. For example, see what is happening that today, if you go to the hospitals, you often see super specialty hospital, multi specialty hospital. Okay. What does it mean, super specialty hospital?
Fast service.
What is it?
High quality equipments.
More equipments. If you go to the super specialty hospital, will they diagnose your problem fast or slower?
Fast.
Very fast. Okay, very fast. And will they treat you very faster? I mean, in a latency. Very fast. Okay. See, why they become a super specialty? Can you tell me one example?
They have specialist doctors in that.
Correct. You use the word specialist. क्यों specialist बोलना चाहिए उनको?
MD कर चुके होंगे, FRCS कर चुके होंगे UK में.
एक पर्टिकुलर सब्जेक्ट पे परफेक्शन रहता है उनको.
हाँ, क्या बोले फिर बताइए? एक सब्जेक्ट पे परफेक्शन रहता है, राइट?
जी.
गुड. हाँ, स्पेशल के माने होते हैं अगर एक आदमी बार बार जो रिपीटेडली वही वर्क कर रहा तो उसको स्पेशलाइजेशन आता. समझ रहे आप? అర్థమవుతుందా? ఒక వ్యక్తి అదే పనిని మళ్ళీ 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 తిరిగి చేస్తాడో అది ప్రత్యేకీకరణ అంటే స్పెషలైజేషన్ కి దారి తీస్తుంది. ఓకే. అండ్ ఇఫ్ యు డూ మల్టిపుల్ వర్క్, will it happen the specialization?
No.
See, because you will not get mastery in any of the work. If you do multiple activities, you will not become a master in any work. You just do it a work, but there is no an efficiency and efficacy. Okay. So as यहाँ पे benefit क्या है? Every an organ of the government gets specialization of its own profession. Okay. Every department, every organ of the government, it gets a specialization in its own domain. Like say, making of laws, how to make the laws and what laws, where laws, how to make it a good law, everything the legislature knows it. And what is execution, how it should be implemented in a what time, and in a flagship way we have to implement and all of that. So एक आदमी बार बार वही काम कर रहा है तो definitely there is a possibility of encroaching, approaching to the specialization. So what I mean to say, the theory of separation of powers rests in lot of responsibility to each and every organ with a super speciality method of making of laws, with a super speciality, a method of implementation of laws, a super speciality, a method of, checks and balances on over the legislature as well as to the judiciary. So all these things which gives an finest impressions to the state in order to making the better government, in order to implementation of the policies as quickly as possible, in order to making the nations develop and as quickly as possible. All these things can be happen very easily through this method of execution of theory of separation by Montesquieu. This is all about a lesson. Next, we'll go into the seventh topic, which is about a executive. What is the page number in your book? Tell me. Executive. 7th chapter. What is the chapter? Anybody has a book with you? Do you have the book?
Executive. 7th chapter, executive.
70. Oh, what is it? And actually, the page number 73?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Very good. In 73, then in executive, you see the explanation of entire and executive. You know that we have a kind of executive, and we have a multi-executive system, and we have a parliamentary executive system, non-parliamentary executive system, political executives, permanent executives, okay, and nominal executives, eternal executives, all these executives we have. First, I'd like to give you the meaning of an executive. You know, the author named Corey, Corry, is an intellectual and a political, one of the greatest thinker in the political science, who actually defines what is the meaning of an executive. Okay, what is the meaning of an executive? Which have an philosopher. Okay, and also what he said that a executive, it takes the entire responsibility to accomplishments of the thing, whereas judiciary and legislature holds only nominal responsibility, but the executive, which consists of more responsibilities, where we can't see such big responsibility, other will vest it. Okay, what he says that executive, it becomes more and more important rather than too often organs of the government. Kyun important ab bataiye? Why he defines that? Corey defines that.
Sir, ground root level में तो executive ही work करते हैं ना sir?
What?
Means public से contact में direct face से अपन को executive ही दिखता है sir, जैसे police है example के लिए.
Very good.
Because he implements the laws.
Very good. See, क्योंकि यहाँ पे देखिए, आप समझना चाहिए कि अगर लेजिस्लेचर पॉलिसीज को बना रहा है, ओके, तो उसका मतलब है it only vested a responsibility making of laws. See, making of laws, it takes a little span of a time. There wouldn't be any kind of a grievances overall. There is no direct interactions to the people. You know, government makes lot of manifestos. Government makes lot of promises to the people. हम ये देंगे, वो देंगे, आपको free scholarship देंगे, आपको सारे that financial appeasement देंगे, आपको college establish करेंगे, KG to PG free education provide करेंगे, okay, and pension system को बढ़ाएंगे. सारे policies को government में promise करते हैं. ये सारे promises को government करने के बाद तो ला क्या करता है, उसको पॉलिसीज को एक्ट के नीचे लेके आता. आफ्टर एक्ट्स आर बीन प्रिपेयर्ड, तो सारा का सारा वर्क कहाँ पे बचे हुआ रहता, मतलब इम्प्लीमेंटेशन. अगर आप देखिए कौन सी भी गवर्नमेंट का एग्जिस्टेंस, ए पॉपुलर गवर्नमेंट होना, ए फेल्यूर गवर्नमेंट होना, किसके हाथ में रहता है, मतलब एग्जीक्यूटिव के हाथ में रहता है. आर यू ऑल फॉलोइंग मी?
यस सर.
हाँ, देखिए आप, यू ऑफन सेज दैट केसीआर गवर्नमेंट इज अ ग्रेट गवर्नमेंट, चंद्रबाबू नायडू गवर्नमेंट इज अ ग्रेट गवर्नमेंट, मोदी गवर्नमेंट इज अ ग्रेट गवर्नमेंट. आप कैसे डिसाइड करेंगे गवर्नमेंट इज अ गुड गवर्नमेंट? कौन से फैक्टर में आप डिसाइड करेंगे? आई एम नॉट आस्किंग एनी पॉलिटिकल क्रिटिसिज्म, आई एम आस्किंग यू दैट इन द कंस्ट्रक्टिव वे, कौन से गवर्नमेंट को आप अच्छी गवर्नमेंट कहलाते?
पब्लिक तक बेनिफिट जो पहुंचाता है उनको बोलते हैं सर.
हाँ,
बेटर
जो गवर्नमेंट सारे तरह के पॉलिसीज को सही तरीके से यहाँ पे सही टाइम पे इम्प्लीमेंट करते, उस गवर्नमेंट को आप अच्छी गवर्नमेंट बोल के बोलते. तो ये नाम लेके आने के लिए हु हैज टू वर्क डे एंड नाइट? एग्जीक्यूटिव वर्क करना चाहिए. देखो आईएएस ऑफिसर को कभी भी एक वी फील ऑलवेज एक पॉलिटिकल लीडर अगर पेपर पढ़ रहा है, एक 1 पेज पढ़ के क्लोज कर देता, ओके, दिस इज द फर्स्ट पेज, दिस इज द लास्ट पेज, ओके। एंड अगर कोई टीचर पढ़ रहा, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट न्यूज, एडिटोरियल पेज पढ़ के क्लोज करता, ओके। और दूसरा एक आदमी है, अगर आप एंटरटेनमेंट चाह रहा तो एंटरटेनमेंट पेपर देखेंगे, कौन सा मूवी कौन से थिएटर में चल रहा देखेंगे, उसके बाद वो टाइम देख के टिकट परचेस करके फिल्म देखेंगे, पर उतना ही न्यूज चाहिए। अगर जो लोग खाते हैं, चिकन का रेट कितना है, प्राइस आज का रेट कितना है, वो देखेंगे और क्लोज करेंगे, ठीक है ना। तो ये सब सारे चीज एक एक आदमी की एक एक रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी रहेंगी, लेकिन जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट कलेक्टर है, सारे चीज सारे पेपर में पढ़ना चाहिए, इजंट इट। तो देखिए, इसीलिए तो कलेक्टर के क्यों इंपॉर्टेंस इंडिया में दिया जाता, मतलब एक ही बंदा है जैसा एंटायर डिस्ट्रिक्ट को इंटरैक्ट कर सकता है, और डे एंड नाइट ही वर्क्स आउट, and he works out in day and night, and he finds the problems of the people. Even the people found the problem, he'll go to the office and they'll keep writing complaints. Every complaint he has to read, every paper he has to read within a district, where it is going, what it is going, and everything, isn't it? And once if anything goes wrong, the stigma will be on the government, not on the collector. Do you understand my point? अगर कौन सी भी चीज में यहाँ पे इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में रॉन्ग हो रहा है, लेट हो रहा, तो सारे पब्लिक किसके ऊपर बोलेंगे रॉन्ग? गवर्नमेंट के ऊपर बोलेंगे। क्या कलेक्टर के बारे में बोलेंगे क्या? नहीं। डू यू अंडरस्टैंड? Collector will be a collector, where he works today, he may change to other, but the point is that in the executive, if it is not work in a right way, definitely the name, bad name will come against the government among the people. So the executive, as per the Codies, is a very essential organ of the government, where it takes and interacted to the people to, in order to appeasement of them, in order to providing the needs to them, in order to interacting to them, in order to making a government existence is possible. So the Cori has given an important definition. Executive is very important rather than legislature and judiciary. Okay. Then soon after that, if you could see the kinds of executives. Let me tell you. देखिए यहाँ पे किसको यहाँ पे एग्जीक्यूटिव कहलाते हैं? फर्स्ट थिंग दैट आई विल टेल यू, एज यू नो दैट ब्यूरोक्रेट, आपने बोला एग्जीक्यूटिव्स मींस किसको बोलते हैं एग्जीक्यूटिव? जैसा लेजिस्लेचर में आप बताएंगे, लोकसभा एमपी और राज्यसभा एमपी, प्रेसिडेंट। अगर आप काइंड्स ऑफ एग्जीक्यूटिव्स में अगर आप देखते हैं, तो देयर आर काइंड्स ऑफ एन एग्जीक्यूटिव्स व्हिच वी सी। फर्स्ट वन, see, single executive, multi-executive system. Do you see in the page number 75, what is that? First point, can you read it up, everyone? In the page number 75, can you read it up?
Single and plural executive.
Singular and plural executive. Singular means the word itself said one. Okay? Single के माने होते one. अगर आप एक सारा के सारा एग्जीक्यूशन प्रोसेस अगर आप एक ही आदमी अगर कर पा रहा, तो उसको क्या बोलते हैं? सिंगुलर एग्जीक्यूटिव। फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू सी, मोनार्क गवर्नमेंट इज द बेस्ट एग्जांपल फॉर सिंगुलर एग्जीक्यूटिव सिस्टम। समझ में आ रहा है क्या नहीं आपको?
हाँ सर।
हाँ। व्हाट इज द प्लूरल? अगर आप अथॉरिटी एक के बजाय 10 आदमी के हाथ में अगर है, तो उसको क्या बोलते हैं? प्लूरल एग्जीक्यूटिव सिस्टम। द बेस्ट एग्जांपल इज इन इंडिया। ओके, singular executive is an executive, the person possesses entire and authority to execution of the laws, is called singular executive system. Best example for that, one man government. Take example of Myanmar, take example of Pakistan, take example of few of the countries in Africa, would become an example of an singular executive system. Next one, if authority of implementation of state, if it is vested in the hands of more than one and more people, it shall be called as a plural executive system. Which country is example for this? India. क्योंकि इंडिया में बताइए क्यों प्लूरल एग्जीक्यूटिव को इंडिया एग्जाम्पल हो सकता? कैन यू टेल मी दैट? क्यों इंडिया को प्लूरल एग्जीक्यूटिव सिस्टम कहा जाता? ఎందుకంటా ఇండియాని ప్లూరల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ సిస్టమ్ అని కారణం ఏంటి?
बहुत सारे
Sir,
एमपीज को
powers is
चुने
divided among, sir.
हाँ, देखिए यहाँ पे अगर आप पावर एक हुकूमत के हाथ में अगर रखे तो उसको बोलते हैं सिंगुलर एग्जीक्यूटिव सिस्टम। अगर आप పవర్ बहुत सारे लोग के हाथ में అంటే అధికారం చాలా మంది చేతిలో ఉంది, కేవలం ఒకరి చేతిలోనే మాత్రమే కాదు. ఇక్కడ ఇండియాలో ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ ఉంటారు, ప్రెసిడెంట్ ఉంటారు, క్యాబినెట్ మినిస్టర్స్ ఉంటారు, స్టేట్ లో చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్స్ ఉంటారు, గవర్నర్లు ఉంటారు, చీఫ్ జస్టిస్ ఉంటారు, అండ్ ఐఏఎస్ ఆఫీసర్లు ఉంటారు. ఇంతమంది చేతిలో అధికారం ఉంటుంది. కాబట్టి వీటిని ఏమంటామని అంటే మల్టీ అండ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ సిస్టమ్ ఆర్ ప్లూరల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ సిస్టమ్ అని అంటాం. India would become a best example for this, isn't it? If the power is centralized in one hand, it is a singular executive. If power is decentralized and to distribute it among the each and every one in the nation, that it shall be called it as multi or plural executive system. This is one. Second type, can you read it up? Second executive type of executive.
hereditary and the elective executive.
Sorry for the distraction. Can you tell me that? What is the next one? Can you read it up? Is it my
Hereditary
voice is audible
elective
to everyone?
executive.
Yes, sir.
What is it? Hereditary?
And elective executive.
No. 7.2.2. What is it? Read it up.
Hereditary and elective executive.
Very good. Very good. Hereditary executive, elective executive. What does it mean, hereditary? Anything, the power which possessed by the reason of blood relation. Okay. And your father was chief minister. Then the power transferred directly in the hands of son. If the son is get up from the power, his son will come into the power. Best example for this, Britain. Britain में क्या है? एलिजाबेथ जाने के बाद, एलिजाबेथ का डिमाइस होने के बाद, the power hand over to next generation. Okay. If power, if it is possessed through the method of blood relation, which is called hereditary, it is called hereditary executive. Which countries is the best example for a hereditary executive system in the world?
Britain.
Very good. क्यों ब्रिटेन को बताएं? Tell me.
परंपरा के हिसाब से नहीं आता
हाँ,
सर पावर,
क्योंकि यहाँ पे पावर इलेक्शन के जरिए या नहीं तो चूजिंग के जरिए नहीं हो रहा. इलेक्शन या जो पावर है, पावर ट्रांसफर कैसा हो रहा? ब्लड रिलेशन के रीजन से हो रहा. क्योंकि फादर पावर में लॉस हो गया तो उनके सन को पावर जाता. सो दिस काइंड ऑफ ए थिंग. कैन यू कॉल सी, अब केसीआर यहाँ पे तेलंगाना स्टेट में, उनके बेटे केटीआर भी है. क्यों नहीं बोलते आप उनको हेरिडिटरी एग्जीक्यूटिव बोल के? व्हाई डोंट यू टेल द रीजन टू दैट इन तेलंगाना स्टेट?
इलेक्शन होता ना सर,
हाँ, वेरी
इलेक्ट
गुड.
करते.
Election के तहत आए. The KTR has come through the election method. Whereas in the England, there is no election. There is no choosing. Only father and the next son will come into the power. Do you understand my point? So this is kind of understanding you require. So that is called hereditary. Hope you understand perfectly this, isn't it?
Yes sir.
And another one you can see, Bhutan also the same. Bhutan is a very famous country to believe in the Buddhism. In the Buddhism, there is a system that, and the leader of the Bhutan, if you could see, the king of Jigme Kaiser and Wangchok. If he will not be their power and his son will come into the power, their blood relation will take the power, other and will not come into the system. So as this kind of an hereditary system. Next one, elective executive system. Can you tell me the example of elective executive system? Which country is the best example? Very good.
India.
If a person or a group of people, if they acquired the power through the method of election, forget about whether it is a direct election, forget about whether there is an indirect election. But if they come into the power through the method of election, it shall be called it as an elective and executive system. The best example, if you could see, United States of America, France, India, and Sri Lanka, South Africa, Nepal, all these nations are to be treated as a elective executive system. Even Telangana, the KTR and KCR and Kavita, all these three peoples are there. Will it be treated as a hereditary or elective?
Elective.
Elective. Through the elections they comes. Okay. Next one, parliamentary, non-parliamentary executive system. This is very, very important. You should understand this. What is parliamentary executive system? You know,
చెప్పరా సార్
huh?
తెలుగు మీడియం వాళ్ళకి చెప్పరా సార్ తెలుగులో
తెలుగు మీడియం వాళ్ళకి నేను మీ అర్థం చేసుకోవడానికి చెప్తున్నాను. కాకపోతే ఏంటంటే మీకు తెలుగులో ఉన్న క్లాసెస్ ఇంకో క్లాసెస్ జరుగుతున్నాయి కదా, అక్కడ కూడా వినొచ్చు. బట్ మీకు అండర్స్టాండ్ అవ్వాలనే ఉద్దేశంతో నేను వేరే వేరే లాంగ్వేజ్ యూజ్ చేస్తున్నాను. ఓకే, హౌఎవర్ ఐ స్పీక్.
రావట్లేదు సార్ తెలుగు మీడియం సార్. ఇప్పుడు పొలిటికల్ సైన్స్ జరిగేది సార్.
ఇది పొలిటికల్ సైన్స్ కంప్లీట్లీ ఇంగ్లీష్ మీడియం.
తెలుగు
మీడియం కి వేరే క్లాస్ ఉంది నాన్న.
పాస్వర్డ్ మరి లేదు కదా సార్ తెలుగుది.
వీడియో మెసేజెస్ కూడా పెట్టలేదు సార్ మీరు ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసెస్ ఉన్నాయా?
నాకు లింక్ రావలేదు సార్, తెలుగు లింక్ ఇంగ్లీష్ మీడియం దే వస్తుంది.
గో టు ద వెబ్సైట్ లో ఉంది.
తెలుగు మీడియం వాళ్ళకి క్లాసెస్ తెలుగులో చెప్పమని అవి లింక్ పెట్టమని చెప్పి.
Okay, that you should speak to sir and center aid, and I'm not your responsible person. I'm just a counselor to you. Okay. Hey. And however, I'll try to speak in Telugu whenever it is necessary to you. Okay. And so here is that parliamentary, non-parliamentary system. What does it mean, parliamentary, non-parliamentary system? Okay. In parliamentary system, if you see that, in parliamentary system, if you see that a legislature will be responsible to executive. Okay. In parliamentary executive system, a legislature is responsible to executive system. And you know that a legislature has an every right to control the executives. Okay. Such as in order to making of laws. If such system will existence in the country, that kind of an executive system shall be treated as a parliamentary executive system. Let me tell you an example. India is become a best example that. See, in a parliamentary system, always the legislature and executive go hand in hand. अब सोचिए कि మీరు ఆలోచించండి, ఒకవేళ లెజిస్లేచర్ కనుక ఏ లాస్ ని తయారు చేయకపోతే ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్ కి ఏమైనా వర్క్ ఉంటుందా? No. There is no point of reason. There is no laws and no policies. What is the results of this executive? Executives का माने है implement करना. अगर कुछ work नहीं है यहाँ पर, तो क्या work रहेगा उनको? There is no point of reason to work at all. So there is in relations, if the country is maintained between the legislature and executive, that kind of an executive can be called it as parliamentary executive. The non-parliamentary executive, if you could see that, what does it mean, non-parliamentary executive? You know that in this non-parliamentary system, in legislature should not have accountability towards the executive. Okay. And even executive cannot overridden on legislature. The both will work and in a different way. So such system will exist in USA, Brazil, South Africa. So if no relations exist between the legislature executive, it is called non-parliamentary executive system. If relation exists between legislature and executive, it can be called as a parliamentary executive system. Do you understand that? Next one, what is it? Can you
Yes, sir.
pronounce it? Can you pronounce the next one? Political executive, permanent executive. Political executive is something that a man who comes into the power who become a minister. If anyone who come through the election but he become a minister can be treated as a political executive. Okay. Now you tell me, KTR can be called as a political executive?
Yes, sir.
Why?
If elections again happens, the person might change.
No. What I'm asking you is that
He has the
why do
he
we
can
call
order to the executive, sir. He can give orders to the executive, sir.
No. What I'm telling, why KTR called it as an executive? KTR is a political leader or bureaucrat?
Political leader.
Okay. I am saying that KTR also bureaucrat.
Temporary bureaucrat.
Why? I mean, I am saying that KTR
Sir,
also
he is
bureaucrat.
not appointed by recruitment, sir. And he doesn't have retirement.
Very good. रिक्रूटमेंट के तहत अगर कौन सा भी ऑफिसर है, जैसे कि आईएएस ऑफिसर से लेकर क्लर्क हो, उसको क्या बोलते हैं? परमानेंट एग्जीक्यूटिव बोलते हैं। समझे क्या ना?
यस सर।
लेकिन अगर जो भी पॉलिटिकल लीडर इलेक्शंस के जरिए आकर मिनिस्टर बना तो उसको क्या बोलते हैं? पॉलिटिकल एग्जीक्यूटिव भी बोलते हैं।
Executive.
पॉलिटिकल एग्जीक्यूटिव क्यों बता रहे हैं? अगर no, all MLAs cannot become a minister. Are you right? All MLAs can't become a minister. Am I right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
बोलिए क्यों, एक्सप्लेन कीजिए। See, అందరు ఎమ్మెల్యేలు మినిస్టర్స్ అవ్వరు, అది నిజమా?
Yes, sir.
నిజమే కదా? రైట్. కొంతమంది మాత్రమే మినిస్టర్స్ ఉంటారు. సో ఎవరైతే మినిస్టర్స్ కారో వాళ్ళని పొలిటికల్ లీడర్ అంటాం. ఎవరైతే మినిస్టర్ అయ్యారో మళ్ళీ వాళ్ళని ఏం చెప్పాలి? వాళ్ళని కూడా పొలిటికల్ లీడర్ అని చెప్పాలా?
పొలిటికల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్స్.
పొలిటికల్ ఎగ్జిక్యూటివ్. కాబట్టి ఇతను కూడా పొలిటికల్ బ్యూరోక్రాట్ అని చెప్పొచ్చు. Do you understand that? He can be called it as a political bureaucrat. Do you understand my point right now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, KCR is political bureaucrat or political leader?
Bureaucrat, sir.
क्यों bureaucrat बोल रहे? क्योंकि he has a chief ministership. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Chief ministership. If a plain MLA, say for example, आपके you are from, all of you, where are? Can any few of them tell me? Where are you from?
Secunderabad.
Secunderabad. Who is MLA of Secunderabad?
Padma Rao, sir.
Padma Rao, sir. Padma Rao, sir, presently is a MLA or minister?
MLA, sir.
MLA only. And you should say otherwise minister. Minister is a political bureaucrat. So earlier he was an excise minister, isn't it?
Yes,
so
yes, sir.
Then what is that? And minister, political bureaucrat. Once again, I'm trying to tell it to you, the difference between the political leader and political bureaucrat. There are kinds of, what is an permanent executive means? Permanent executive means जो लोग implementation process में recruitment के तहत आकर retirement तक रहते, उनको क्या बोलते हैं? permanent executives बोलते हैं। कौन कौन एग्जाम्पल हो सकते हैं उसमें, बोलिए।
SI, सब इंस्पेक्टर,
वेरी गुड, कांस्टेबल, क्लर्क, IAS ऑफिसर, मिनिस्टर, सब लोग हो सकते। Okay, and no, not minister, only permanent. Till right from recruitment to retirement को permanent executive बोलते हैं। Okay, for meantime 5 years में रहकर minister अगर रहा तो उनको क्या बोलते हैं? Political executive.
Political bureaucrat.
Next one. The next one, 7.2.5. Pronounce it in the 77 page number. What is it?
Real executive and nominal executive.
Real and nominal. See, real executive is the executive which actually comes through the method of recruitment and retirement. समझे क्या ना? Same, permanent and real executive. Both are, the meaning will be the same. Okay. And nominal executive is a nominal executive who will be there for a nominal time. Do you understand? For example, in India, we consider president in state governor. Governor को क्या रहता? President is a nominal authority. For a namesake, he has an authority. He is executive, but he doesn't have any power. The power will be used by some other person. President को nominal executive कहते. क्यों कहते? मतलब he is executive, but he does not use his power. His powers will be used by prime minister. Hence, he is called as a nominal executive. What is a permanent, real executive? And real executive is something that who actually have a real powers. In India, who called as real executive? Prime Minister. Who called it as a real executive? Prime Minister. Okay. जो लोग real executive powers को use करते हैं उनको real executive बोलते हैं. जो लोग nominal executive powers को use करते हैं उनको nominal executive बोलते हैं. Real executive Prime Minister in India, nominal executive President in India. Okay. So these are all the things which will be there. And you know how the executive system comes into the method. One is that hereditary, another one is that election, another one is a nominal, indirect election, direct election, another one is that, and nomination. Okay, how the people will come into the power, how the people will come into the an executive system means through the election, through the nomination, through the direct, indirect election, through the hereditary. Do you understand that? All these things which will be there. Okay. The next one, what is the time now? 11:36. So far, and that class will be ended up. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me. I'll be here. Listen your doubts to everything. Can anyone speak up which is related to subject matter? Okay. No doubts at all?
No doubts, sir. Clear, sir.
Okay, then, okay, we'll meet you on the tomorrow's class exactly by 10:30, okay? So we'll wind it up all the units in tomorrow itself. If it is possible, more than 1 hour also, I shall take the class of you. Try to attend the class. Those who are missed the class, please ask them to attend the sessions also, okay? Thank you, everybody. We'll see you back tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.